Speaking English does not always require expensive courses, private teachers, or complex study materials. Many people believe they need more money, more resources, or more advanced knowledge before they can start speaking. That belief often delays progress for years. This audiobook focuses on a different approach. It shows how a small set of 5 to 1 everyday words can be enough to start speaking English in real situations. These are the words already used in daily life, in simple conversations, and in practical communication. You will learn how to use these words to express real thoughts, describe daily activities, ask questions, share opinions, and talk about your life in a clear way. The goal is not perfection. The goal is communication that works in real moments. Each chapter is designed to help you build a habit of speaking without pressure. You will see how simple sentences can grow into confident speech when practiced regularly. You will also learn how daily repetition, familiar words, and consistent practice can slowly change the way you think and speak. This is not about fast results. It is about steady improvement that fits into your daily life, even if you have no money and no teacher. If you stay with this process, you will notice changes in how you understand English, how you respond, and how you express yourself. The journey starts now with something simple, but the results can reach much further than you expect. Chapter 1. Master. The 521 words used in daily conversations. English does not become easy because the words are difficult. English becomes easy when you stop trying to learn everything at once and begin with the right words first. That is where real progress starts. Many people waste months chasing long vocabulary lists they never use. They study rare words, they memorize hard definitions, they feel busy. Then the moment they need to speak, their mind goes blank. This is not because they are incapable. It is because they were taught to collect words instead of using words. Speaking is not about knowing the biggest number of words. Speaking is about knowing the right words well enough to use them clearly, calmly, and without fear. That is why this chapter begins with a simple truth. You do not need thousands of words to start speaking English. You need a small group of useful words that appear again and in daily life. You need words for greetings, words for questions, words for family, words for food, words for work, words for feelings, words for places, words for common actions, words for yes and no, words for what you need now, words for what happened yesterday, words for what you want tomorrow. When you know these words deeply, English stops feeling like a wall and starts feeling like a tool. A strong life begins with strong basics. That is true in work. It is true in habits. It is true in health. It is true in speech. People who master the basics do not panic when life gets hard. They know how to return to what works. English is the same. A small number of common words can open many doors if you use them daily with patience and discipline. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be steady. You do not need to speak like a textbook. You need to speak like a real person who is trying to connect. Start with the most common words that appear in real conversations every day. These are words like I, you, he, she, we, they, this, that, here, there, now, today, tomorrow, yes, no, good, bad, big, small, come, go, get, give, want, need, make, know, think, see, hear, speak, ask, tell, help, work, live, eat, drink, sleep, buy, pay, open, close, wait, start, stop, feel, like, love, hate, happy, sad, tired, busy, late, early, home, school, office, shop, street, friend, family, man, woman, child, water, food, money, time, place, name, problem, answer, question, idea, folk, car, bus, train, day, week, month, year. These words are not fancy, but they are powerful because they are useful. They are useful because they are alive in real speech. Do not treat words like dead items on a page. Treat them like tools in your hand. A hammer is not useful when you only look at it. It becomes useful when you know when to use it. English words are the same. Learn the word, say it aloud, use it in a sentence. Repeat it in a new sentence. Change the subject. Change the time. Change the place. Change the feeling. That is how words move from memory into speech. That is how they become part of you. A person who wants to speak English should not ask, how many words do I know? The better question is, how many words can I use without fear, That question is honest. It reveals the truth. Some people know hundreds of words but cannot form a simple sentence. Others know fewer words but speak more clearly because they use them often. The second person is already closer to real English communication. This should remove pressure from your mind. You do not need to impress anyone. You need to communicate. That is a different goal. It is a better goal. It is a more useful goal. Begin with the words you use in daily life in your own language. Think about how you speak when you wake up, when you eat, when you go out, when you come back, when you are tired, when you are waiting, when you need help, when you feel something strongly. These moments happen every day. English conversations are built from these moments. If you can say, "I need water," "I am tired, I am late, I want to go home, can you help me, I do not understand. Please speak slowly," then you are already speaking real English. These are not small victories. These are signs that you are becoming functional. And functional language changes lives. It is important to accept something that many learners resist. You will not speak well by only reading. You will not speak well by only listening. You will not speak well by only watching videos. Those things help, but speaking is a physical and mental habit. The mouth must learn, the brain must learn, the ears must learn, the eyes must learn. All of them must work together. So when you learn a new word, do not stop at recognition. Speak it, write it, use it in a sentence, use it again tomorrow, then use it in a different sentence. That repetition is not boring. That repetition is training. Train yourself like someone who respects the future. A careless learner waits for motivation. A disciplined learner builds a system. You do not need to feel excited every day. You need a simple plan every day. Learn 10 useful words. Speak them aloud 10 times. Make one sentence with each word. Record your voice if possible. Listen to yourself. Correct yourself gently. Repeat the same words the next day. This is not fast in a dramatic way. It is fast in a real way. Real progress compounds. A little practice done daily becomes strength. A lot of practice done once becomes a memory. When choosing words to learn, always focus on usefulness. Do not chase rare words first. Do not start with words you will never say. Start with words you can use in a bus, in a market, at home, in school, in a job, with a friend, with a neighbor, or when asking for help. Learn question words first because they create conversation. What, where, when, why, who, how. These 6 words are small, but they are important. They help you ask for information. They help you stay involved in a conversation. They help you respond instead of staying silent. A person who can ask simple questions can learn faster from real life than someone who waits in silence. Then learn action words because action words build sentences. Go, come, take, give, make, use, do, have, get, put, need, want, say, know, think, see, feel, look, hear, ask, tell. These words let you describe what is happening. Without action words, your speech stays stuck. With them, your sentences begin to move. And movement matters. It helps you talk about your day. It helps you say what you need. It helps you explain a problem. It helps you ask for support. It helps you survive in conversations where confidence matters more than perfect grammar. Many people are afraid of grammar. They think grammar is the whole game. It is not. Grammar is important, but grammar becomes easier when your words are strong. A small child does not study grammar rules first. The child hears words repeatedly, then begins to use them. That same natural method can help adults too. You can learn patterns before you learn all the rules. Start with simple structures. I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, they are, I have, you have, I want, I need, I like, I do not, I can, I cannot, I will, I went, I came, I saw, I said. These simple forms are enough to build many useful sentences. Do not wait until you know every rule. Begin with what you can use today. A strong learner also knows that confidence grows from exposure. The first time you speak, you may feel awkward. That is normal. The second time, a little less. The 10th time, better. The 100th time, stronger. Confidence is not magic. It is the result of repeated contact with discomfort until the discomfort loses power. This is true in language and in life. The person who avoids pressure remains fragile. The person who faces it regularly becomes steady. So speak before you feel ready. Speak while you are still learning. Speak imperfectly. Speak politely. Speak slowly if needed. Silence helps fear grow. Speech helps fear shrink. You should also learn words in groups, not only one by one. Learn words for time together. Now, today, tomorrow, yesterday, morning, afternoon, evening, night, early, late, always, often, sometimes, never. Learn words for place together: home, school, office, shop, market, street, room, village, town, city, country. Learn words for people together: mother, father, brother, sister, friend, teacher, neighbor, boss, customer. Learn words for feelings together: happy, sad, angry, tired, worried, excited, afraid, calm, sick, fine. Grouping words helps the mind keep order. It also helps the mind find the right word faster during speech. Another important habit is to learn opposite words: big and small, fast and slow, hot and cold, old and new, good and bad, open and close, start and stop, easy and hard, here and there, above and below, before and after. This is practical because daily conversation often uses contrast. People compare things. They explain changes. They describe problems. Opposites make speech flexible. When you know both sides, you can express more. You can also understand more when other people talk. Do not ignore the power of polite words. Please, thank you, sorry, excuse me, may I, can I, could you. These words are small, but they carry respect. They make communication smoother. They open people's hearts. A person with simple English and respectful habits often communicates better than a person with advanced words and a cold tone. Good communication is not only about vocabulary. It is also about character. Speak with respect and your words will land better. As you build your word base, make a daily routine that is easy to keep. In the morning, review 10 words. In the afternoon, say them in sentences. At night, review them again and try to use them in a short spoken paragraph. For example, if your words are work, busy, tired, home, food, time, today, help, need and sleep, you can say, today I worked a lot. I was busy. Now I am tired. I want to go home. I need food and rest. I need sleep. This is simple English. It is clear English. It is honest English. And honest English is often enough. There is great value in speaking about your real life instead of artificial practice. Say what you did. Say what you saw. Say what you need. Say what you feel. Say what you plan. Real life gives you endless material. You do not need to invent complicated topics. Your life is enough. I woke up early. I drank tea. I went to school. I talked to my friend. I do not feel well. I am learning English. I need more practice. These sentences are useful because they are true. Truth makes language easier to remember. You will also grow faster if you learn to hear the same words in many voices. Listen to simple English every day, not to impress yourself, not to collect random noise. Listen to understand the rhythm of the words you are learning. When you hear want, need, go, come, good, bad, today, tomorrow and please, again and again, your mind begins to predict them. That prediction is part of learning. It reduces fear. It builds familiarity. Familiarity builds speed. Speed builds confidence. Confidence builds action. Action builds progress. Do not compare your progress with someone who has been learning for years. Compare yourself only with yesterday's version of yourself. This is a disciplined way to live. It protects your mind from envy and disappointment. Language growth is personal. It happens at different speeds for different people. The important thing is direction. Are you moving forward? Are you speaking more? Are you understanding more? Are you afraid less? These are the questions that matter. If the answer is yes, even a little, then you are winning. Some days you will forget words you learned. That is normal. Forgetting is not failure, it is part of learning. A strong learner does not panic when memory slips. A strong learner returns to the word and uses it again. This is how resilience works, not just in English, but in life. You keep returning, you keep rebuilding, you keep going. That is the quiet strength most people never develop because they quit too early. Do not quit early. Stay with the process. The process is teaching you more than the words. It is teaching discipline. It is teaching patience. It is teaching self-control. It is teaching you how to stay faithful to a small plan long enough for it to change your life. If you want a very practical method, use this 4-step cycle every day. First, choose a small set of words. Second, say each word aloud clearly. Third, make simple sentences with each word. Fourth, use those sentences in a short spoken paragraph about your day. This cycle is enough to build momentum. It removes confusion. It keeps your practice focused. You do not need complicated tools. You need consistency. Even 10 minutes a day can make a difference if the 10 minutes are used well. A focused 10 minutes is more powerful than a distracted hour. You should also keep a small notebook or a notes page on your phone. Write the word. Write one simple meaning in your own language if needed. Then write one English sentence. Keep it short, keep it useful. Later, when you review, do not just read. Cover the sentence and try to say it from memory. Then check. This active method is stronger than passive reading. It makes your mind work. It makes your memory stronger. It makes your speaking more natural. A wise person understands that progress is built from humble actions repeated with care. Speaking English with 521 words is not about being limited. It is about being practical. It is about building a strong base. Once the base is strong, expansion becomes easier. You will add more words later. You will speak longer sentences later. You will understand faster later. But right now, the first task is to own the words that matter most. Own them so well that they feel familiar. Own them so well that you can use them without stress. That is mastery at the beginning level. Do not wait for the perfect moment to begin. The perfect moment is often a hidden excuse. Begin with the moment you already have. Begin with the words you already know. Begin with the voice you already possess. Speak a little today. Speak a little tomorrow. Speak a little again after that. A strong life is built by people who keep showing up when progress is quiet. Your English journey is the same. The first results may seem small, but small results become proof. Proof becomes motivation. Motivation becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. At some point, you will notice something important. You will think less in fear and more in language. You will stop freezing as often. You will start answering faster. You will start understanding simple speech without stress. You will feel less pressure when someone speaks to you in English. These changes may appear slowly, but they are real. And real change deserves respect. Give yourself credit when you improve. Not arrogant credit, honest credit. You are doing difficult work. You are training your mind. You are building a new skill from the ground up. That takes courage. The goal is not to become someone else. The goal is to become more capable, more steady, more ready, more useful in daily life. English can help with work. It can help with travel. It can help with study. It can help with new friends. It can help with confidence. It can help with opportunity. But even more than that, the discipline you build through learning English can strengthen your whole character. When you learn to practice daily without excuses, you train the part of you that wins in other areas too. The same mind that learns to speak with simple words can also learn to stay calm under pressure, stay focused on goals, and stay loyal to growth. Keep your standards high, but keep your method simple. That balance matters. Many people make learning too hard by making it too complicated. They confuse themselves with too much information. You do not need confusion. You need clarity. You need repetition. You need use. You need patience. You need a quiet determination to return to the same useful words until they become yours. That is how speaking begins. That is how confidence grows. That is how a new life starts to take shape. When you feel tired, return to the basics. When you feel lost, return to the basics. When you feel too slow, return to the basics. The basics are not weak. The basics are where strength begins. A person who respects the basics becomes hard to stop. Learn the 521 words that matter. Use them in daily speech. Speak them with honesty. Practice them with discipline. Build your life one clear sentence at a time. There is dignity in simple progress. There is power in steady effort. There is hope in repetition. And there is great freedom in the moment you realize that speaking English is no longer something distant and impossible. It is becoming part of your daily life, one word at a time. Chapter 2. Learn essential English sentences. using only common words. English becomes useful when words begin to work together. A single word has value, but a sentence creates communication. A word can point to an idea. A sentence can express a need, share a feeling, ask for help, solve a problem, or start a relationship. This is why learning essential English sentences is one of the fastest ways to move from understanding English to actually using it. Many learners spend years collecting vocabulary without developing the ability to communicate. They recognize words on a page, but when a real conversation begins, they struggle to respond. The reason is simple. Conversations are built with sentences, not isolated words. Real communication happens when words are connected into clear thoughts that another person can understand. The good news is that you do not need advanced language to create meaningful conversations. Common words can produce thousands of useful sentences. A small collection of everyday language can help you navigate work, school, travel, friendships, and daily responsibilities. The goal is not to sound impressive. The goal is to be understood. Think about how often simple ideas appear in daily life. People ask where something is, they explain what they need, they describe how they feel, they tell others what happened, they make plans. They solve small problems. Most conversations revolve around ordinary situations. This means simple sentences are not weak. They are powerful because they match real life. Begin by learning sentences that help you introduce yourself. Every new connection starts with basic information. My name is Ahmed. I am 20 years old. I live in a small town. I work in a store. I am learning English. These sentences are not complicated, yet they allow another person to know who you are. They create opportunities for conversation. They build confidence because they are easy to remember and easy to use. After learning how to introduce yourself, focus on sentences that help you ask questions. Questions keep conversations alive. They show interest. They help you gather information. They help you learn. Sentences like "What is your name? Where do you live? What do you do? How are you today? When does the meeting start?" allow you to participate instead of remaining silent. A common mistake among learners is waiting until they feel completely prepared before speaking. This creates unnecessary pressure. Communication improves through action. Every conversation teaches something. Every attempt reveals a new lesson. Every small success strengthens belief in your ability to improve. Progress belongs to those who practice, not those who wait. One effective method is to connect sentences directly to your daily routine. When you wake up, describe your morning in English. I woke up early today. I made breakfast. I drank water. I am getting ready for work. These simple statements train your brain to use English naturally. Instead of treating English as a separate subject, you begin making it part of everyday life. The same approach works throughout the day. While traveling, you can think, the bus is late, the road is busy, I am going to the office. While eating, you can say, this food tastes good. I am hungry, I need another glass of water. While shopping, you can practice, how much does this cost? I would like to buy this. Do you have a different size? Notice how these sentences use common words. There is nothing unusual about them. Their strength comes from usefulness. Language becomes easier when practice focuses on situations you actually experience. Your brain remembers information that feels relevant. Another important category involves expressing feelings. Human beings constantly communicate emotions. You do not need complicated vocabulary to do this. I am happy today. I feel tired. I am worried about tomorrow. I am excited about this opportunity. I feel much better now. These sentences allow you to connect with others on a deeper level. Many learners underestimate the value of emotional language. Yet emotions are at the center of human interaction. People remember how you make them feel. They respond to honesty. Learning to express simple feelings helps create meaningful conversations even when your vocabulary remains limited. Practice speaking these sentences aloud. Speaking silently in your mind is helpful, but using your voice creates a different level of learning. Your mouth becomes familiar with English sounds. Your ears become familiar with your own pronunciation. At first, your voice may feel uncomfortable. This is normal. Every skill feels awkward before it feels natural. Discomfort should not be viewed as a sign to stop. It should be viewed as evidence that growth is happening. Every new ability requires a period of adjustment. People who become successful in any area of life understand this principle. They accept temporary discomfort because they value long-term improvement. Keep your practice simple. Choose 10 useful sentences. Repeat them several times. Change 1 or 2 words to create new versions. For example, I am going to work can become I am going to school, I am going to the market, I am going home. One sentence pattern suddenly creates multiple possibilities. This approach saves time and reduces confusion. Instead of memorizing endless material, you learn flexible structures that can be used in many situations. Language becomes easier when you recognize patterns. Another powerful habit is responding to common questions. Imagine someone asks, "How are you?" Practice answers such as, "I am doing well," "I am fine today," "I am a little tired," "I feel great." If someone asks, "What are you doing?" practice saying, "I am studying English," "I am working right now," "I am reading a book." Preparing these responses in advance reduces anxiety. When real conversations occur, your brain already has experience producing similar sentences. Confidence increases because the situation feels familiar. A disciplined learner understands that consistency matters more than intensity. Studying for 5 hours once a month is less effective than practicing for 15 minutes every day. Small efforts repeated consistently create lasting results. This principle applies to language learning, physical fitness, personal development, and nearly every worthwhile goal. Many people fail because they search for dramatic breakthroughs. They want instant results. They want quick success. Real improvement usually arrives quietly. One sentence learned today may seem insignificant, yet after months of steady practice, hundreds of useful sentences become available. Communication becomes smoother. Understanding improves. Fear decreases. Patience is one of the most valuable qualities you can develop. Every day of practice adds another brick to the foundation. Individual sessions may seem small, but foundations are built one brick at a time. Strong structures are never created overnight. It is also important to accept mistakes as part of the process. Some learners become embarrassed when they make errors. They worry about pronunciation. They worry about grammar. They worry about being judged. These worries often create silence. Silence feels safe in the moment, but it slows growth. Mistakes create learning opportunities. Every correction teaches something valuable. Every misunderstanding reveals an area that needs attention. The learner who speaks imperfectly gains experience. The learner who remains silent gains very little. Think about a child learning to speak. Children make countless mistakes. They mispronounce words. They use incorrect structures. Yet they continue speaking. They improve because they practice without excessive fear. Adults can learn from this mindset. Progress becomes faster when perfection is not required. Another useful strategy is creating personal sentences rather than memorizing random examples. Your life provides endless material for practice. Talk about your family. Talk about your goals. Talk about your daily activities. Talk about your experiences. For example, if you enjoy sports, practice sentences related to sports. If you work in an office, create sentences related to your job. If you are a student, describe your classes and assignments. Personal content feels meaningful, which improves memory and motivation. You can also use simple English to reflect on your goals. I want to improve my English. I want a better job. I want to travel someday. I am working hard every day. These statements do more than improve language skills. They reinforce positive thinking and personal responsibility. A strong mindset supports language growth. People often underestimate the connection between attitude and learning. When you believe improvement is possible, you practice more consistently. When you practice consistently, results appear. When results appear, confidence grows. This creates a positive cycle. There will be days when progress feels slow. You may struggle to remember a sentence. You may forget words you learned previously. You may feel frustrated. During these moments, remember that temporary difficulty does not erase permanent progress. Growth is rarely a straight line. Some days feel easier than others. Discipline becomes especially important during challenging periods. Motivation changes from day to day. Discipline allows you to continue even when enthusiasm decreases. A few minutes of practice during difficult days often matters more than long study sessions during easy days. One of the greatest advantages of simple sentences is their versatility. Consider a sentence like "I need help." This can be used at work, during travel, at school, in a store, or during an emergency. Common language remains useful because life repeatedly presents similar situations. The same principle applies to sentences like "I do not understand." Can you repeat that? Please speak slowly. These expressions empower you to continue conversations even when comprehension is incomplete. They reduce fear because they provide tools for handling uncertainty. Communication is not about knowing everything. It is about managing situations effectively. Even native speakers ask questions, request clarification, and seek help. Strong communication involves adaptability, not perfection. As your collection of sentences grows, you will notice important changes. Conversations will require less mental effort. Responses will arrive more quickly. Listening comprehension will improve because familiar sentence patterns become easier to recognize. Most importantly, your confidence will begin to rest on experience rather than hope. Confidence built through experience is reliable. It does not depend on mood. It comes from evidence. You practiced, you improved, you handled conversations, you solved problems. These experiences prove your capability. Eventually, English stops feeling like a distant goal and starts becoming a practical tool. You begin using it to learn, connect, work, and grow. The language becomes part of your daily routine rather than a subject you occasionally study. This transformation does not happen through complicated methods. It happens through simple actions repeated consistently. Learn useful sentences, speak them regularly, apply them in real situations, review them often, stay patient with yourself. Keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Every sentence you master expands your ability to participate in the world. Every conversation teaches something new. Every day of practice strengthens a skill that can create opportunities for years to come. The person who commits to steady improvement eventually achieves what once seemed difficult, not because they possessed special talent, but because they refused to stop learning. Common words combined into useful sentences may appear simple, yet they hold tremendous power. They allow you to express your thoughts, share your experiences, build relationships, solve problems, and create opportunities. Continue building one sentence at a time. Continue practicing one day at a time. Continue improving one step at a time. Small efforts performed faithfully create remarkable results. Your English journey does not require expensive courses, special advantages, or perfect conditions. It requires commitment, patience, and the willingness to use simple language consistently. Master the essential sentences built from common words, and you will discover something important. The ability to communicate clearly is not reserved for a fortunate few. It belongs to anyone willing to practice with purpose, remain disciplined during challenges, and continue moving forward no matter how slowly progress seems to come. That commitment can change not only your English, but also the way you approach every worthwhile goal in life. Chapter 3. Practice speaking English daily without spending any money. Many people believe that speaking English requires expensive courses, private teachers, paid applications, or special programs. They look at their financial situation and immediately decide that learning English is beyond their reach. This belief stops countless people before they even begin. The truth is much simpler and far more encouraging. The ability to speak English does not belong only to people with money. It belongs to people who practice consistently. Money can buy resources, but it cannot buy commitment. A teacher can provide guidance, but a teacher cannot practice for you. An expensive course can offer information, but information alone does not create skill. Speaking English grows through daily use. It grows through repetition, effort, patience, and the willingness to keep going when progress feels slow. History is filled with people who achieved remarkable results using limited resources. They succeeded because they focused on what they could control rather than what they lacked. This same mindset applies to language learning. Instead of asking what you do not have, focus on what is already available. You have a voice, you have thoughts, you have daily experiences, you have access to opportunities for practice that cost nothing. The first step is changing your perspective. Stop seeing yourself as someone who is waiting for better conditions. Begin seeing yourself as someone who can start today. Progress begins when excuses lose their power. The person who waits for perfect circumstances often waits forever. The person who uses what is available gains momentum immediately. One of the most effective ways to practice English without spending money is speaking to yourself throughout the day. At first, this may feel unusual. Many learners dismiss this method because it seems too simple, yet simplicity is often where powerful results begin. Your mind is active from morning until night. Thoughts constantly move through your head. Most of these thoughts occur in your native language. Start converting some of them into English. When you wake up, describe what you see around you. Notice the sunlight entering the room. Observe the sound of people outside. Look at your bed, your clothes, your surroundings. Use English to describe these ordinary moments. You might say that the weather feels pleasant. You might describe your plans for the day. You might explain what you need to accomplish before evening. These conversations with yourself create valuable speaking practice because they connect language directly to real life. The beauty of self-talk is that mistakes carry no consequences. No one is judging your pronunciation. No one is grading your grammar. You can experiment freely. This freedom allows confidence to grow naturally. Another excellent habit involves narrating your actions while performing daily tasks. While preparing breakfast, explain each step in English. While cleaning your room, describe what you are doing. While walking outside, observe your environment and put those observations into words. This process strengthens the connection between language and action. Instead of treating English as abstract information, you begin associating it with experiences. The brain learns efficiently when knowledge connects to reality. Many learners underestimate the educational value of ordinary routines. Yet daily activities provide endless opportunities for practice. Every meal, every trip, every conversation, every responsibility creates material you can use for speaking exercises. A disciplined learner learns to transform ordinary moments into learning moments. Waiting for a bus becomes listening practice. Walking through a market becomes vocabulary practice. Completing household tasks becomes speaking practice. Language development no longer depends on special study sessions because learning becomes woven into everyday life. Recording your voice is another powerful strategy that costs nothing. Most people carry a phone capable of recording audio. Use this simple tool wisely. Choose a topic from your daily life and speak about it for 1 or 2 minutes. Describe your goals. Explain what happened during your day. Share your thoughts about a recent experience. When you listen to the recording, resist the urge to criticize yourself harshly. Listen objectively. Notice areas where you hesitate. Pay attention to pronunciation patterns. Observe your speaking speed. These recordings provide valuable feedback because they reveal strengths and weaknesses that are difficult to notice while speaking. Many learners avoid hearing their own voice because it feels uncomfortable. Yet growth often begins where comfort ends. Listening to yourself develops awareness. Awareness creates improvement. Reading aloud is another free method that produces significant benefits. Find simple English material and read it with energy and focus. Pay attention to sentence flow. Concentrate on clear pronunciation. This exercise trains your mouth to produce English sounds more naturally. Silent reading helps comprehension, but reading aloud adds another layer of development. It combines visual recognition, speaking practice, and listening practice into a single activity. This combination strengthens multiple language skills simultaneously. Consistency remains more important than duration. 15 focused minutes every day often produces better results than occasional sessions lasting several hours. Small daily actions accumulate over time. The effect may seem modest initially, but persistence creates remarkable change. Many people quit because they expect dramatic improvement within a short period. Language learning rarely follows that pattern. Progress often feels invisible before it becomes obvious. During the early stages, your brain is building foundations. New connections form gradually. Skills develop beneath the surface before they become visible in conversation. Trust this process. Continue practicing even when results seem distant. The learner who remains patient gains an advantage over the learner who constantly searches for shortcuts. Another useful strategy involves describing pictures in English. Look at photographs on your phone. Observe details carefully. Describe the people, locations, objects, and activities you see. Explain what might be happening. Discuss the emotions visible in the image. This exercise develops speaking flexibility because it requires you to generate language spontaneously. Real conversations demand the same skill. The more often you practice creating descriptions, the easier spontaneous communication becomes. You can also create imaginary situations and respond to them in English. Imagine meeting someone new. Imagine attending a job interview. Imagine asking for directions in a different city. Imagine ordering food at a restaurant. Practice answering questions that might arise in these situations. This mental preparation reduces anxiety because common scenarios become familiar before they occur in real life. Confidence grows when preparation replaces uncertainty. Many fears exist because the mind feels unprepared. Practice creates familiarity. Familiarity reduces fear. One important principle deserves attention. Avoid measuring success solely by perfection. Many learners become discouraged because they focus excessively on mistakes. They notice every grammatical error. They worry about every mispronounced word. While accuracy matters, communication matters more. The primary goal is expressing ideas clearly enough for others to understand. Perfection develops gradually through experience. Communication develops through action. Think about any skill you admire. Musicians improve through repeated practice. Athletes improve through repeated training. Writers improve through repeated writing. Language learners improve through repeated speaking. There is no alternative path. Improvement belongs to those who continue showing up. The willingness to practice imperfectly is one of the greatest advantages a learner can develop. Every conversation becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes information. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth. Surrounding yourself with English does not require financial investment. Change your phone settings to English if your current level allows it. Read simple labels. Pay attention to signs, instructions, and menus. Expose yourself to the language regularly. Frequent exposure creates familiarity. Familiarity reduces mental resistance. Over time, English begins feeling less foreign and more natural. A strong learner also develops the habit of thinking creatively about practice opportunities. Instead of asking whether an activity counts as studying, ask whether it strengthens your English. If the answer is yes, it has value. Describing your surroundings strengthens vocabulary. Speaking about your plans strengthens sentence formation. Recording your thoughts strengthens fluency. Reading aloud strengthens pronunciation. Listening carefully strengthens comprehension. These activities require effort rather than money. Many successful learners share a common trait. They take responsibility for their progress. They do not wait for someone else to create motivation. They do not blame circumstances continuously. They focus on actions within their control. This mindset extends far beyond language learning. It influences career development, health, relationships, and personal growth. People who concentrate on what they can do tend to make steady progress. People who focus only on limitations often remain stuck. Every day presents a choice. You can spend time wishing conditions were different, or you can use available resources effectively. One path produces frustration, the other produces growth. The ability to speak English is built through hundreds of small decisions. Choosing to practice for a few minutes. Choosing to review vocabulary instead of scrolling endlessly through distractions. Choosing to speak despite uncertainty. Choosing to continue despite slow progress. These choices may appear insignificant individually. Together, they create transformation. Some days your energy will be high. Practice enthusiastically. Other days motivation will be low. Practice anyway. Consistency during difficult days often matters more than effort during easy days. Discipline creates stability. Stability creates progress. Progress creates confidence. Remember that every fluent speaker once struggled with words they now use effortlessly. Every confident communicator once experienced hesitation. Every skilled learner began as a beginner. The difference is not talent alone. The difference is persistence. People who improve continue practicing long after excitement fades. They trust the process enough to keep moving forward. Your current circumstances do not determine your future ability. Your daily actions determine your future ability. A person with limited resources but strong discipline often outperforms someone with abundant resources but weak commitment. Practice speaking whenever opportunities appear. Speak while walking. Speak while working. Speak while organizing your thoughts. Speak while reviewing your day. Speak while planning tomorrow. Use your environment as a classroom. Use your experiences as learning material. Use your voice as your primary tool. Language belongs to those who use it. Every sentence spoken strengthens familiarity. Every effort builds competence. Every day of practice moves you closer to fluency. The most encouraging truth is that progress remains available regardless of your financial situation. No payment is required for determination. No subscription is required for effort. No expensive program is required for persistence. Your voice costs nothing. Your willingness costs nothing. Your commitment costs nothing. Yet these three resources, used consistently, can produce results that change opportunities, expand possibilities, and strengthen confidence for years to come. The journey begins with a simple decision. Practice today. Practice tomorrow. Continue practicing after that. Keep speaking even when improvement feels slow. Keep learning even when challenges appear. Keep trusting the process even when results seem distant. One day, you will notice that conversations feel easier. Words arrive more naturally. Responses require less effort. Understanding becomes clearer. Confidence becomes stronger. When that moment arrives, you will realize something important. The progress did not come from money. It came from daily action. It came from discipline. It came from persistence. It came from the decision to use what you already had instead of waiting for something you did not. That lesson applies not only to English, but to life itself. The people who move forward are rarely the ones with perfect circumstances. They are the ones who make the most of the circumstances they have. They begin where they are. They use what they possess. They continue despite obstacles, and through steady effort, they create results that once seemed impossible.
Chapter 4. Build confidence through simple English speaking exercises. Confidence is one of the biggest challenges for people learning English. Surprisingly, the problem is often not vocabulary, grammar, or pronunciation. The real obstacle is fear. Many learners know more than they think they do, yet they remain silent because they are worried about making mistakes. They hesitate before speaking. They overthink every sentence. They imagine criticism before anyone has even responded. This habit creates a wall between knowledge and action. The truth is that confidence does not appear before action. Confidence appears because of action. Many people believe they must feel confident first and then they will speak. Real growth happens in the opposite direction. You speak first, you make mistakes, you learn, you improve. Then confidence begins to grow. This lesson extends beyond language learning. In every area of life, people become stronger through experience. A person becomes comfortable driving by driving. A person becomes comfortable speaking in public by speaking in public. A person becomes comfortable using English by using English. There is no shortcut around experience. The good news is that confidence can be developed through simple exercises. You do not need advanced materials. You do not need complicated techniques. You need consistent practice that gradually teaches your mind that speaking English is safe. One of the simplest exercises is introducing yourself every day. Even if nobody is listening, stand in front of a mirror and speak clearly. State your name. Explain where you live. Describe your work, studies, hobbies, goals, and interests. Try to make your introduction slightly different each day. This exercise develops familiarity with speaking about yourself. Since your own life is already familiar, your brain can focus on language production instead of searching for new ideas. The more comfortable you become discussing personal topics, the easier conversations become. Many learners avoid mirrors because they feel awkward. Yet a mirror provides immediate feedback. You can observe your facial expressions. You can notice whether you appear nervous or relaxed. You become more aware of your communication style. This awareness helps you develop a stronger presence. Another valuable exercise involves answering simple questions aloud. Create a list of common questions and respond to them naturally. Questions such as what you did yesterday, what you plan to do tomorrow, what food you enjoy, what goals you have, and what challenges you are currently facing provide endless opportunities for practice. This exercise trains your brain to think and respond more quickly. Real conversations move fast. People rarely provide long preparation periods before expecting an answer. The ability to respond naturally improves through repeated exposure to common questions. An important principle should guide your practice. Focus on communication before perfection. Many learners spend so much time searching for the perfect sentence that they never finish speaking. The conversation moves forward while they remain trapped inside their thoughts. Simple communication is far more useful than perfect silence. If someone understands your message, the conversation is already successful. Accuracy will improve over time. Fluency develops through use. Imagine a child learning to walk. Nobody expects perfect balance during the first attempt. Falling is part of the process. Language learning follows the same pattern. Small mistakes are evidence that learning is taking place. They are not signs of failure. A powerful exercise for building confidence involves describing objects around you. Look at a chair, a table, a phone, or a window. Describe its appearance, purpose, size, color, and location. Then choose another object and repeat the process. This activity develops speaking flexibility because it forces you to create language spontaneously. You are not memorizing prepared content. You are generating ideas in real time. This skill becomes extremely valuable during actual conversations. You can increase the challenge gradually. Instead of describing one object, describe an entire room. Then describe a street. Then describe a photograph. Then describe a recent experience. Each step stretches your abilities slightly further without creating overwhelming pressure. Growth occurs when challenges are manageable but meaningful. If exercises are too easy, improvement slows. If exercises are too difficult, frustration increases. The ideal approach balances comfort with challenge. Another excellent exercise involves telling short stories from your own life. Think about something that happened recently. Perhaps you visited a market, met a friend, completed a task, or solved a problem. Explain the experience in English. Storytelling strengthens several skills simultaneously. You learn to organize thoughts. You practice using time expressions. You connect events logically. Most importantly, you gain experience speaking for longer periods without stopping. At first, your stories may only last 30 seconds. Over time, they can grow into several minutes. This gradual expansion develops endurance. Speaking becomes less exhausting because your brain adapts to sustained communication. Confidence also grows when you stop treating mistakes as enemies. Many people develop a harsh inner voice while learning. They criticize themselves constantly. Every error becomes proof that they are not good enough. This mindset creates unnecessary suffering. Improvement requires patience. Learning a language is not a test of intelligence. It is a skill-building process. Skills improve through repetition. A disciplined learner responds differently to mistakes. Instead of feeling defeated, they become curious. They ask, what can be learned from the experience? They identify the problem and continue practicing. This attitude transforms setbacks into opportunities. Consider how athletes train. A missed shot during practice does not end the session. A missed shot provides information. The athlete adjusts and tries again. Language learners benefit from adopting the same perspective. One useful exercise involves recording answers to daily questions. Choose a different topic each day. Discuss your goals, routines, challenges, achievements, interests, or future plans. Listen to the recording afterward. Pay attention to your progress over time. You may notice that your sentences become longer. You may observe fewer pauses. You may recognize greater comfort in your voice. These improvements often occur gradually, making them difficult to notice without comparison. Progress becomes motivating when it is visible. Recordings provide evidence that your efforts are producing results. Another effective confidence-building method is shadow speaking. Listen to a simple English speaker and repeat the words immediately after hearing them. Try to match the rhythm, speed, and pronunciation as closely as possible. This exercise reduces pressure because you are not creating original content. You are focusing entirely on speaking. It develops familiarity with natural English patterns and improves speaking flow. Many learners struggle because they treat every skill separately. They study vocabulary independently from speaking. They study grammar independently from listening. Shadow speaking helps connect these skills into a more natural experience. Confidence is also influenced by expectations. Some learners expect themselves to sound fluent after only a short period of study. When reality fails to match these expectations, discouragement appears. Healthy expectations create healthier progress. Accept that improvement requires time. Accept that some days will feel easier than others. Accept that growth is often gradual. Patience is not passive. Patience means continuing the work while understanding that meaningful results require consistency. One practical exercise involves creating daily speaking challenges. For example, speak for 1 minute without stopping. The next week, increase the challenge to 2 minutes. Later, increase it again. This gradual progression builds speaking stamina. Longer conversations become less intimidating because your ability to sustain communication continues expanding. Another valuable habit is celebrating small victories. Many learners overlook their achievements because they focus only on distant goals. They ignore the fact that they can now say things that once felt impossible. Recognize your improvements. Perhaps you understand more than before. Perhaps you hesitate less frequently. Perhaps you can describe experiences more clearly. These achievements matter. They represent genuine growth. Confidence grows when the mind notices progress instead of constantly searching for shortcomings. There is also great value in maintaining emotional balance during the learning process. Some days will be productive. Other days may feel frustrating. Neither experience should control your commitment. The Stoic perspective teaches that external outcomes cannot always be controlled, but effort can. You cannot force immediate fluency. You cannot eliminate every challenge. You can control your practice. You can control your attitude. You can control your willingness to continue. This mindset creates stability. Stable learners make steady progress because they are not constantly reacting to temporary emotions. Simple English exercises also teach an important life lesson. Growth rarely arrives through dramatic moments. More often, it emerges through small actions repeated consistently. A few minutes of focused speaking may not seem significant today. Repeated over months, those minutes become hours. Those hours become experience. That experience becomes confidence. Many people search for a secret method that removes effort from learning. Such a method does not exist. Improvement comes from practice. The encouraging news is that practice does not need to be complicated. Speak about your day. Describe your environment. Answer questions. Tell stories. Record your voice. Repeat useful phrases. Practice consistently. These simple activities may appear ordinary, yet they produce extraordinary results when performed regularly. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. Fear loses its influence. Situations that once felt intimidating become manageable. Conversations that once seemed impossible become achievable. This transformation does not happen because you become perfect. It happens because you become familiar with the process of speaking. Familiarity reduces uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty creates confidence. A confident speaker is not someone who never makes mistakes. A confident speaker is someone who continues communicating despite mistakes. They understand that errors are temporary. Growth is permanent. Remember that every confident English speaker started as a beginner. Every skilled communicator experienced moments of hesitation. Every fluent speaker once struggled to express simple thoughts. The difference is that they continued practicing. They continued speaking. They continued learning. You can do the same. Each exercise strengthens your abilities. Each effort builds resilience. Each day of practice increases your comfort with the language. Confidence is not a gift reserved for a fortunate few. It is a skill developed through repeated action. The more you speak, the more natural speaking becomes. The more natural speaking becomes, the less fear controls your decisions. Continue showing up. Continue practicing. Continue speaking even when you feel uncertain. The confidence you seek is already being built. Every time you use English with courage, patience, and determination, one sentence spoken today is stronger than 100 sentences postponed until tomorrow. One honest effort creates more growth than endless preparation without action. Trust the process, respect the journey, and keep moving forward. With every simple exercise, you are becoming not only a better English speaker but also a stronger and more confident person. Chapter 5. Use familiar words to express real-life ideas. English becomes powerful when it helps you communicate what matters in your life. Many learners spend years chasing difficult vocabulary because they believe advanced words will make them better speakers. They fill notebooks with complicated expressions. They memorize long lists. They study definitions they rarely use. Then, when it is time to have a real conversation, they struggle to explain simple experiences from their own lives. This happens because communication is not built on impressive words. Communication is built on clear ideas. People connect with honesty, clarity, and understanding. The ability to express a real thought using familiar language is far more valuable than knowing 100 difficult words that never leave your notebook. One of the biggest mistakes language learners make is believing that simple words are only for beginners. In reality, simple words form the foundation of almost every conversation. People discuss work, family, plans, feelings, challenges, dreams, responsibilities, and daily experiences using ordinary language. These topics do not require complicated vocabulary. They require the ability to express ideas clearly. Think about your own life. Every day you make decisions. Every day you solve problems. Every day you experience emotions. Every day you interact with people. These experiences contain endless opportunities for English practice because they are real. Real experiences create meaningful communication. Imagine someone asks about your day. You do not need advanced language to answer. You can explain what happened using words you already know. You can talk about where you went, who you met, what you learned, what challenged you, and what you hope to accomplish next. The goal is not to sound like a professor. The goal is to share your experience. A person who can clearly explain a simple idea often communicates better than someone who uses difficult vocabulary incorrectly. Clarity creates understanding. Understanding creates connection. Connection creates opportunity. This principle applies far beyond language learning. In life, people often make things more complicated than necessary. They search for complex solutions when simple actions would produce results. They focus on appearance instead of substance. They become distracted by what looks impressive rather than what actually works. Strong communication follows the opposite path. It values usefulness over appearance. It values understanding over complexity. It values action over unnecessary theory. When learning English, begin by expressing ideas that matter to you personally. Talk about your family. Describe your responsibilities. Explain your goals. Discuss lessons you have learned from experience. Share your opinions about everyday situations. The more closely English connects to your real life, the more natural it becomes. Your brain remembers information more easily when it carries personal meaning. Abstract examples often disappear quickly. Personal experiences remain memorable because they are connected to emotions and reality. Suppose you want to describe a challenge. You do not need complicated language. You can explain that work has been difficult. You can mention that you have been busy recently. You can say that you are trying to improve your skills. These simple statements communicate genuine experiences. Many learners underestimate the power of straightforward communication. Yet some of the most meaningful conversations happen through ordinary words. Friends support each other through simple language. Families express care through simple language. People solve problems through simple language. Language exists to serve human connection. When you remember this purpose, learning becomes less stressful. Instead of trying to impress people, focus on helping them understand you. One useful exercise involves describing your goals using familiar words. Consider what you want to achieve over the next year. Explain your plans in simple English. Perhaps you want a better job. Perhaps you want to improve your health. Perhaps you want stronger relationships. Perhaps you want greater financial stability. You do not need advanced vocabulary to discuss these ambitions. You simply need enough language to express your thoughts honestly. This practice improves both your English and your self-awareness. It encourages reflection while strengthening communication skills. The ability to explain your goals clearly is valuable in every area of life. People who understand their own direction often make better decisions. Language can help organize thinking. The process of expressing ideas forces you to examine them carefully. Another effective habit is describing lessons you have learned. Every person has experiences that contain wisdom. Perhaps you learned the value of hard work. Perhaps you learned the importance of patience. Perhaps you learned that discipline matters more than temporary motivation. Expressing these lessons in English provides meaningful practice. It also deepens your understanding of the lessons themselves. Teaching an idea, even to yourself, often strengthens your grasp of that idea. Many people believe language learning requires constant focus on grammar rules. While grammar is important, communication begins with ideas. A clear message delivered with minor mistakes often succeeds. A perfect sentence without meaningful content accomplishes very little. This perspective reduces pressure. Instead of becoming trapped by perfectionism, you can focus on expressing yourself honestly. Improvement still matters. Accuracy still matters. Yet, communication remains the primary goal. There is something powerful about speaking from personal experience. When you describe real events, your attention shifts away from fear. You focus on sharing something meaningful rather than performing perfectly. This mindset often produces better communication because it feels more natural. Think about conversations you enjoy. They usually involve genuine stories, useful insights, shared experiences, or thoughtful opinions. They rarely depend on complicated language. People remember authenticity more than vocabulary. A strong learner develops the ability to discuss everyday situations comfortably. This skill creates confidence because daily life provides endless topics. You can talk about your routine, your work, your studies, your interests, your family, your plans, and your observations. As your ability grows, these conversations become richer. You begin adding details. You begin explaining causes and effects. You begin sharing opinions and reflections. Yet the foundation remains familiar language used effectively. Many learners make the mistake of waiting until they know more words before speaking. They imagine that future knowledge will magically eliminate uncertainty. In reality, speaking ability develops through use. The learner who practices with familiar words often progresses faster than the learner who endlessly prepares without speaking. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates improvement. Improvement creates confidence. Consider how children learn language. They start with simple words connected to real needs and experiences. They talk about people, food, places, activities, and feelings. Over time, their communications expands naturally. Adults can benefit from the same principle. Build a strong foundation using useful language connected to real life. Complexity can come later. Clarity should come first. There is also an important psychological benefit to using familiar words. Familiar language reduces cognitive pressure. Your brain spends less energy searching for vocabulary and more energy organizing ideas. This allows conversations to flow more smoothly. Fluency often depends less on knowing rare words and more on using common words efficiently. A learner who can combine familiar language creatively gains tremendous flexibility. For example, a person may not know a specific technical word. Instead of becoming stuck, they can describe the idea using simpler language. This ability keeps communication moving forward. Resourcefulness often matters more than vocabulary size. Life itself rewards resourcefulness. Challenges rarely arrive in perfect conditions. Successful people learn to work with what they have. Language learning follows the same pattern. Use the words you know. Build from your current abilities. Continue expanding gradually. One practical exercise involves explaining ordinary situations in multiple ways. Describe your job, then describe it differently. Explain your daily routine, then explain it again using new sentence structures. This develops flexibility and strengthens control over familiar language. Another useful exercise involves expressing opinions about everyday topics. Discuss education, technology, work habits, health, friendship, responsibility, or personal growth. These conversations encourage deeper thinking while remaining accessible through common vocabulary. The more frequently you express ideas, the more comfortable communication becomes. Your thoughts begin finding words more quickly. Your confidence increases because speaking feels familiar rather than intimidating. A disciplined learner understands that mastery comes from repeated use. Familiar words become powerful when they are used consistently. A carpenter becomes skilled through repeated work with basic tools. A writer becomes skilled through repeated use of language. A language learner becomes skilled through repeated communication. Do not underestimate the value of simplicity. Many important truths are simple. Hard work matters, honesty matters, patience matters, discipline matters, responsibility matters. These ideas can be expressed using ordinary language, yet they carry tremendous power. The same principle applies to English. Familiar words can communicate meaningful ideas when used thoughtfully. The value lies not in complexity, but in clarity. As you continue your journey, resist the temptation to measure progress solely by vocabulary size. Measure progress by your ability to communicate. Can you explain your thoughts more clearly than before? Can you describe your experiences more effectively? Can you participate in conversations with greater confidence? These are meaningful indicators of growth. The Stoic philosophers often emphasized focusing on what truly matters rather than becoming distracted by appearances. This wisdom applies perfectly to language learning. What matters is communication. What matters is understanding. What matters is the ability to express your ideas and connect with others. Everything else is secondary. Continue practicing with language that feels useful and relevant. Speak about your life. Describe your experiences. Share your goals, discuss your challenges. Express your opinions. Reflect on your lessons. Allow English to become a tool for expressing who you are rather than a performance designed to impress others. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. Familiar words stop feeling limited. Instead, they begin feeling powerful. You discover that meaningful conversations do not require extraordinary vocabulary. They require clear thinking, honest expression, and consistent practice. This realization changes everything. Learning becomes less stressful. Speaking becomes more natural. Progress becomes more enjoyable. You begin understanding that communication is not about sounding important. It is about being understood. It is about sharing ideas. It is about connecting with people. It is about expressing the experiences that shape your life. When you can take familiar words and use them to communicate real thoughts, real emotions, real goals, and real lessons, you are no longer simply learning English. You are using English as it was meant to be used. You are transforming language into a practical tool that supports growth, builds confidence, and helps you participate more fully in the opportunities and relationships that shape your future. That ability is worth far more than any collection of difficult vocabulary. It is a skill that serves you every day, in every conversation, and in every stage of life. Chapter 6. Develop strong speaking habits through daily repetition. Daily repetition is where speaking changes from an activity into a habit. At first, English practice may feel like a task you must force yourself to do. You may need reminders. You may need discipline. You may need to push through resistance. That is normal. Every useful habit begins with effort before it becomes natural. The goal is not to wait for speaking to feel easy. The goal is to practice often enough that speaking begins to feel familiar. Many learners believe improvement should happen in large jumps. They expect sudden fluency after a few weeks of study. When that does not happen, they become discouraged. But speaking grows in a quieter way. It grows through repeated exposure. It grows when you return to the same words, the same sentence patterns, the same speaking moments, day after day. That steady return is what builds strength. A habit is simply something you do often enough that it becomes part of your identity. A person who speaks English every day is no longer only a student of English. They are becoming a speaker. That shift matters. Identity shapes behavior. When you begin to see yourself as someone who practices daily, you stop treating speaking as optional. It becomes a normal part of your day, like eating, washing, or preparing for work. The most powerful habits are often the smallest ones. You do not need a long lesson every day. You need a clear routine that you can repeat without too much pressure. For example, speak 5 sentences in the morning. Repeat them aloud while getting ready. In the afternoon, describe what you are doing. At night, review 3 useful phrases from the day. This kind of structure is simple, but it works because it is easy to continue. If a habit is too difficult, it usually disappears. If it is too complicated, you avoid it. But when a habit is small, clear, and useful, it has a better chance of staying alive. Daily repetition depends on sustainability. You want a practice that fits your life, not one that overwhelms it. A habit that survives busy days is worth more than a perfect plan you never follow. Repetition matters because the brain learns through familiarity. The first time you say a sentence, your mind may hesitate. The second time, it may still feel awkward. By the 10th or 20th time, the sentence starts feeling more natural. This is not because you became magically talented. It is because your mind and mouth have been trained by contact. Repeated use creates ease. Ease creates speed. Speed creates confidence. This is why one of the best habits you can build is speaking the same useful ideas in different ways. Say what you ate today. Say where you went. Say who you met. Say how you feel. Say what you plan to do next. Use simple language, but do it regularly. When you speak about ordinary things every day, you train yourself to think in English more often. That habit is far more useful than studying random sentences that never connect to your life. You should also repeat the same sentence patterns until they feel stable. For example, practice I am going to with many different actions. I am going to work. I am going to the market. I am going to study. I am going to rest. The pattern remains the same, but the content changes. This helps you learn sentence structure without feeling lost. It also makes speaking more flexible because you are not memorizing one fixed line. You are learning how to build many sentences from one clear base. A strong speaking habit is built on visible routine. Choose a time when you are least likely to be interrupted. Tie your English practice to something you already do every day. After breakfast, speak for 5 minutes. Before sleep, review common sentences. While walking, repeat useful phrases quietly or in your mind. When a habit connects to an existing routine, it becomes easier to remember. You are less likely to skip it because it is attached to something stable. The learners who improve most steadily are usually not the ones with the best materials. They are the ones who keep showing up. They speak even when they do not feel ready. They repeat the same exercises until those exercises stop feeling new. They do not chase excitement. They value consistency. That attitude creates results over time. There is discipline in repetition, but there is also peace in it. Repeating a practice every day can quiet the mind. It removes doubt. It reduces the feeling that you are starting over each time. You begin to trust your process. You stop asking whether learning is possible and start proving it to yourself through action. This is an important change. Self-trust grows when your behavior becomes reliable. A useful daily habit is to keep a short speaking journal. Each day, write 3 simple thoughts in English and read them aloud. They can be about your day, your mood, your work, or your plans. The purpose is not to create perfect writing. The purpose is to give yourself something real to say every day. When your thoughts are tied to your own life, speaking becomes more meaningful and easier to remember. Another strong habit is reviewing old material regularly. Many learners only want new words and new lessons. They forget that repetition of old material is what makes knowledge permanent. If you learned a useful phrase last week, use it again today. If you practiced a sentence yesterday, say it again now. Repetition is not a waste of time. It is the process through which memory becomes skill. You should expect some days to feel better than others. That is normal. Repetition does not mean every session will feel exciting. Some days you will be focused. Some days you will be tired. Some days your speech will flow more easily. Other days it will feel slow. None of this should stop you. A strong habit continues through changing moods. It is not controlled by the weather of your emotions. When people rely only on motivation, they often fail. Motivation rises and falls. It is useful, but it is not dependable. Habit is more dependable. Habit carries you when motivation is weak. This is why daily repetition is so valuable. It gives you a system that works even when your feelings change. One of the deepest lessons in speaking practice is that progress often appears after many small repetitions that seemed unimportant at the time. A phrase repeated today may feel ordinary. A sentence spoken tomorrow may feel easy. A week later, you may realize that the sentence comes out without stress. That moment is not random. It is the result of accumulated practice. The same is true for fluency. Fluency is not built in a single powerful session. It is built through repeated contact with useful language. The learner who speaks a little every day often develops more stable ability than the learner who studies intensely only once in a while. Daily repetition keeps English close to your mind. It prevents long gaps that cause forgetting. If you miss a day, do not turn one missed practice into a reason to give up. Return the next day. The habit does not need to be perfect to be valuable. It only needs to continue. Many people lose momentum because they think one mistake destroys the whole process. It does not. What matters is your willingness to resume. A disciplined person understands that repetition is not punishment. It is training. Training prepares you for real use. When you repeat speaking regularly, you are preparing your mind for real conversations. You are building readiness. You are making communication feel more normal and less intimidating. You may notice that repeated practice changes more than your English. It changes your character. It teaches patience. It strengthens focus. It builds self-respect. When you keep a promise to yourself every day, even a small one, you become more trustworthy in your own eyes. That inner trust is powerful. It supports not only language learning, but every other goal you care about. Speaking habits become stronger when you keep them simple, repeat them often, and stay honest about your effort. Do not search for complexity where consistency is enough. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not believe that progress must always feel dramatic. The quiet daily effort matters. The repeated sentence matters. The regular review matters. The steady return matters. A better English life begins with a repeated action that you respect enough to do daily. Speak a little. Review a little. Repeat a little. Continue a little. These small actions, when protected by discipline, become a reliable path forward. And once the habit is established, it starts working for you. English becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural part of your day. That is how strong speaking habits are born. Chapter 7. Expand communication skills. By combining basic English words, communication grows when simple words begin to work together. A learner may know many isolated words and still struggle to speak because words alone do not carry a full message. Real communication begins when small words join in a clear order and create meaning. That is where progress becomes visible. That is where speaking starts to feel useful. That is where English changes from memory work into real-life use. A basic word like go is helpful. A basic word like home is helpful. A basic word like now is helpful. But when you combine them into I want to go home now, the message becomes stronger and more complete. This is how communication grows. Not by collecting large words that rarely appear in daily speech. Not by waiting for perfection. It grows by building simple ideas from the words you already know. Many learners stop too early because they think simple vocabulary means limited ability. The truth is different. Simple words are not weak. They are flexible. They can be arranged in many ways to express actions, needs, feelings, plans, and problems. A person who learns how to combine basic words well can say a great deal with very little. That skill is valuable because daily life often asks for simple, clear speech, not complicated language. This is one of the most important lessons in language learning. Do not only learn words. Learn how words behave together. Learn how a small set of words can create many sentences. Learn how one pattern can become several useful messages. This approach builds communication skills faster because it trains the mind to think in connected phrases instead of separate pieces. Start with short combinations that express action. I am here. I am ready. I am busy. I am tired. I need help. I want food. I have time. These are small sentences, but they are powerful because they let you participate in real moments. They help you respond quickly. They help you avoid silence. They help you stay present in conversation. Once you are comfortable with short combinations, begin adding one more idea at a time. I am here for work. I am ready to start. I am busy today. I am tired after class. I need help with this. I want food now. I have time this evening. Each added word expands the message. The change may seem small, but these small changes teach your mind how to build longer thought. This is the real strength of communication. You do not need to speak in long speeches every day. You need to develop the ability to add meaning step by step. A clear sentence often begins with a simple idea and grows through one or two extra details. That habit creates fluency because your mind learns how to move from one useful thought to the next without stopping. A strong learner practices combining basic words in many directions. Time is one direction. Place is another. Feeling is another. Action is another. For example, you can say, I am going now, then I am going home now, then I am going home after work now. The sentence grows in a natural way. You are not memorizing a long fixed line. You are learning how to develop an idea. This matters because real conversations do not give you perfect conditions. People speak quickly. Questions change. Situations shift. If you can combine simple words naturally, you will not freeze as easily. You will have tools. You will have patterns. You will have the ability to say enough to keep the conversation alive. One useful method is to practice a basic sentence and then change one part of it repeatedly. Start with, I like this. Then try, I like that. I like this book. I like this place. I like this idea. I like this food. I like this time. This exercise teaches flexibility. It helps you see how one small sentence can serve many purposes. Another effective exercise is using common words to make comparisons. This is better. That is easier. Today is colder. This job is harder. The new phone is faster. These sentences are simple, but they allow you to express opinion and observation. They help you say what you notice in daily life. They also prepare you for richer communication because comparison is part of many real conversations. You should also combine words to explain reasons. I am late because the bus was slow. I stayed home because I was tired. I studied more because I had a test. I need water because it is hot. Reason gives speech depth. It helps others understand not only what happened, but why it happened. That is an important step in communication. It turns simple statements into meaningful conversation. Many learners remain stuck because they only practice one-word answers or very short phrases. That stage is useful at the beginning, but it should not become a permanent habit. Language grows when you push gently beyond the smallest response. Ask yourself how you can add one more detail. Then one more. Then another. This is how your ability expands without pressure. You can practice this in a quiet and practical way every day. Look at something near you and describe it using more than one word. A cup becomes my cup. Then my clean cup. Then my clean cup on the table. Then my clean cup on the table near the book. Each sentence teaches structure. Each sentence builds confidence. Each step improves your control over basic language. Another helpful habit is combining words to speak about feelings and situations together. I feel good today. I feel better now. I feel tired after work. I feel nervous before class. I feel happy when I see my friend. These sentences are simple but deeply human. They help you express your inner life. They also make your English more personal, which improves memory and motivation. Communication skills also grow when you learn how to connect two simple ideas in one sentence. I am hungry and I want lunch. It is late and I need to go. I like this place, but it is crowded. I was busy, so I could not call. These combinations help your speech become smoother. They reflect how people actually talk. Real conversations are full of joined thoughts. A person who can combine basic words well becomes less dependent on complicated vocabulary. When a rare word is missing, they do not stop. They explain the idea another way. They use simpler language to express the same meaning. That flexibility is a major strength. It makes communication possible even when memory fails. This ability also improves listening. When you understand how basic words combine, you begin recognizing those patterns when other people speak. The brain notices structure more easily. A familiar pattern feels less confusing than a random stream of words. Over time, this helps you follow conversation with more comfort. One of the clearest signs of growth is when you start speaking in complete, simple thoughts without needing much effort. At first, you may translate every idea in your head. Later, the basic patterns begin arriving faster. Then you respond more naturally. Then you begin building your own sentences rather than depending on memorized lines. That is real progress. Do not be impatient with this process. Combining words is not a small skill. It is the foundation of speaking. The ability to add one useful word to another, then another, then another is what creates communication. A person with that skill can learn faster, speak more clearly, and adapt more easily in real situations. A disciplined learner practices this daily. They do not wait for a perfect classroom. They use their room, their walk, their chores, their meals, and their thoughts as practice space. They turn ordinary moments into speaking exercises. They speak about what is happening now, what happened earlier, and what will happen next. This keeps English close to life. Instead of keeping it distant and formal, the goal is not to become impressive. The goal is to become clear. Clear speech helps people understand you. Clear speech reduces confusion. Clear speech builds trust. Clear speech saves time. Clear speech helps you move through work, study, travel, and relationships with more ease. As you continue combining basic English words, you will notice something important. Your confidence will not come from using big vocabulary. It will come from being able to say what you mean. That is a deeper and more stable kind of confidence. It is built on skill, not appearance. It grows from practice, not from pretending. This is why daily speaking matters. Every time you combine familiar words into a real sentence, you strengthen your ability to communicate. Every time you add a small detail, you build control. Every time you explain a reason, a feeling, or a plan, you expand your range. Every time you keep going instead of stopping, your skill grows. Keep using simple words in smarter ways. Keep shaping them into useful sentences. Keep adding small details until your message becomes clear. That habit will serve you in ordinary conversations, important moments, and future opportunities. It is a quiet skill, but it is a strong one. And over time, it can change the way you speak, the way you think, and the way you move through the world. Chapter 8. Train yourself to think directly in English. One of the biggest changes that happens during the journey of learning English is not something other people can see. It does not happen in your pronunciation. It does not happen in your vocabulary notebook. It happens inside your mind. There comes a moment when you stop translating every thought and begin understanding English more naturally. This shift is powerful because it removes a major obstacle that slows communication. Many learners spend years translating from one language into another before speaking. A question enters their ears. They translate it into their native language. They create an answer. Then they translate the answer back into English. This process takes time and energy. It creates hesitation. It creates stress. It often causes learners to miss parts of the conversation because their minds are busy translating instead of listening. Thinking directly in English changes this experience. Instead of moving through two languages, your mind begins working inside one language. Responses become faster. Conversations become smoother. Understanding becomes easier. Speaking starts feeling more natural because English becomes a tool for thinking rather than a subject being studied. This ability is not reserved for gifted learners. It is a skill that develops through practice. Like every valuable skill, it grows gradually. No one wakes up one morning and suddenly thinks entirely in English. The process happens step by step. It begins with simple thoughts and expands through repeated use. The first thing to understand is that thinking in English does not require advanced vocabulary. In fact, trying to think in complicated language often creates unnecessary difficulty. Start with thoughts that match your current level. If you know simple words, think simple thoughts. Look around your room and identify objects using English. Notice the chair, the table, the door, the window, the book, the phone, or the light. Allow your mind to connect directly to English words without translating. This may seem small, but it creates an important habit. Your brain begins forming direct connections between objects and English vocabulary. These direct connections become stronger with repetition. Another effective practice involves describing what is happening around you. If it is raining outside, think about the weather in English. If you are preparing food, think about what you are doing. If you are traveling somewhere, describe the journey to yourself. The goal is not perfection. The goal is exposure. Every moment spent thinking in English trains your mind to become more comfortable with the language. Comfort leads to familiarity. Familiarity leads to speed. Many learners believe that speaking is the most important skill. Speaking is certainly valuable, but thinking often comes first. The quality of your thoughts influences the quality of your speech. When your mind becomes comfortable creating ideas in English, expressing those ideas becomes easier. Consider how naturally you use your native language. You do not translate every thought before speaking. You simply think and speak. The process feels automatic because the connection between thought and language is strong. Developing this same connection in English requires patience and repetition. One practical exercise is creating short internal conversations. Ask yourself simple questions and answer them in English. Consider what you plan to do later in the day. Reflect on your goals. Think about recent experiences. Discuss these topics silently in your mind. At first, your thoughts may feel slow and incomplete. This is normal. The purpose is not speed. The purpose is building familiarity. Speed develops naturally as familiarity increases. An important principle should guide this process. Avoid becoming frustrated by limitations. Many learners stop practicing because they cannot express every idea perfectly. This expectation creates unnecessary pressure. Use the words you know. Express ideas as clearly as possible. Allow your abilities to grow naturally. Think about a child learning language. Children do not wait until they know thousands of words before thinking. They use the language available to them. Adults often expect immediate sophistication. This expectation slows progress because it creates fear of imperfection. A stoic perspective can be helpful here. Focus on what is within your control. You cannot instantly become fluent. You cannot force rapid improvement. You can choose to practice. You can choose to think in English for a few minutes each day. You can choose consistency over impatience. Small actions performed consistently create significant results over time. Another useful strategy involves observing your environment and creating simple observations in English. Notice people walking, notice buildings, notice sounds, notice activities. Describe what you see using language that feels comfortable. This habit strengthens awareness while simultaneously developing English thinking skills. It transforms ordinary moments into learning opportunities without requiring additional study time. Many learners spend too much energy worrying about grammar while thinking. This often interrupts the natural flow of ideas. During thinking practice, prioritize communication over perfection. Allow thoughts to move freely. Corrections can come later. The immediate goal is creating a direct connection between ideas and English. Over time, something interesting begins to happen. Certain phrases appear automatically. Common expressions require less effort. Your brain starts recognizing familiar patterns. This reduces mental workload and creates smoother communication. The process resembles building a path through a field. The first journey requires effort because the path does not yet exist. Repeated journeys gradually create a clear route. Eventually, movement becomes easier because the path is established. Language development works in a similar way. Frequent use strengthens mental pathways. Thoughts travel more efficiently because the brain becomes familiar with the route. One valuable exercise involves planning your day entirely in English. Consider upcoming responsibilities. Think about tasks that need attention. Organize priorities using simple English thoughts. This practice serves two purposes. It develops language skills while improving personal organization. Productive habits often create benefits beyond their original purpose. You can also reflect on completed experiences. Think about what went well during the day. Consider challenges you faced. Evaluate decisions you made. This reflection strengthens both language ability and self-awareness. Self-awareness is an important aspect of growth. People who regularly examine their actions often make better choices. Combining reflection with English practice creates an efficient use of time. Another challenge many learners face involves fear of forgetting words. They become anxious when vocabulary does not appear immediately. This anxiety can interfere with thinking practice. Remember that forgetting is part of learning. Even native speakers occasionally struggle to find the right word. Communication does not require perfect memory. Continue thinking with the language available to you. Missing words can be learned later. Patience remains essential throughout this process. Mental habits do not change overnight. The mind develops through repeated exposure. Consistency matters more than intensity. 5 minutes of daily English thinking often produces greater long-term results than occasional periods of intense effort. Regular contact keeps the language active in your mind. This activity strengthens familiarity and reduces resistance. Many successful language learners create English zones within their daily lives. Certain activities become associated with English thinking. Morning routines, walks, meals, or exercise sessions provide opportunities for mental practice. These consistent associations help establish habits. Eventually, English thinking becomes automatic during those activities. Automatic habits require less effort because they become part of your routine. There is also value in accepting silence. Many people constantly seek external stimulation. They fill every moment with entertainment or distraction. Quiet moments provide excellent opportunities for thinking practice. During a walk, instead of reaching immediately for a phone, observe your surroundings and think in English. During waiting periods, review ideas mentally. These small moments accumulate throughout the day. The learner who uses these moments wisely gains additional practice without changing their schedule. Another important realization is that thinking directly in English strengthens confidence. Translation often creates hesitation because it adds extra steps. Direct thinking reduces these steps. Fewer steps create smoother communication. Smoother communication increases self-belief. Confidence built through experience is more reliable than confidence built through wishful thinking. Each successful moment of English thinking provides evidence that improvement is occurring. Evidence strengthens belief. As your abilities expand, your thoughts can become more detailed. You can discuss opinions, goals, values, lessons, and observations. The range of topics grows naturally as your vocabulary expands. Do not rush this process. A strong foundation supports future growth. Master simple thinking before pursuing complex ideas. Clear basic thoughts create a stable platform for more advanced communication later. Many people underestimate the power of gradual progress. They focus on dramatic transformations and overlook small improvements. Yet meaningful change often begins with small improvements repeated consistently. Every direct English thought strengthens the connection between your mind and the language. Every practice session reduces dependence on translation. Every effort contributes to greater fluency. Eventually, you may notice that certain thoughts appear automatically in English. This moment often surprises learners because it feels natural rather than forced. The language begins integrating into daily life. This integration represents genuine progress. English becomes more than a subject. It becomes a practical tool for understanding, planning, observing, and communicating. The journey requires discipline, patience, and persistence. There will be days when thinking feels easy and days when it feels challenging. Continue practicing regardless of temporary fluctuations. Progress belongs to those who remain consistent. Small daily efforts accumulate. Familiarity grows. Resistance decreases. Confidence strengthens. Train your mind patiently. Give yourself permission to think simply. Use the language you know. Build steadily. Trust the process. One thought in English becomes two thoughts. Two thoughts become conversations. Conversations become habits. Habits become fluency. The transformation happens quietly, often without immediate recognition. Yet each day of practice moves you forward. Each effort strengthens your ability. Each moment spent thinking directly in English brings you closer to the point where communication feels natural, clear, and free. That freedom is one of the most valuable rewards language learning can offer. It opens doors to new opportunities, new relationships, new knowledge, and greater confidence. It begins with a simple decision repeated consistently every day. Choose to think in English even for a few minutes. Continue tomorrow. Continue the day after that. Through steady effort, your mind will gradually learn to treat English not as something foreign, but as something familiar, useful, and increasingly your own. Chapter 9. Improve fluency by speaking simple English every day. Fluency is a goal that many English learners dream about. They imagine speaking smoothly without long pauses. They imagine understanding conversations without feeling lost. They imagine expressing their thoughts clearly without constantly searching for words. These dreams are possible, but many people misunderstand how fluency is built. They believe fluency comes from knowing thousands of words. They believe fluency appears after finishing a course. They believe fluency arrives when every grammar rule is mastered. The reality is much simpler. Fluency grows when you use English regularly. It develops when speaking becomes a normal part of your daily life. It strengthens when you stop waiting for perfection and start using the language you already know. Many learners delay speaking because they think their English is not good enough yet. They continue studying. They continue collecting vocabulary. They continue reading lessons. Yet they rarely open their mouths. Months pass. Sometimes years pass. Their knowledge increases, but their speaking ability remains weak because speaking is a skill that must be practiced directly. Imagine someone who studies swimming for years without entering the water. They may understand techniques. They may know important information, but understanding is not the same as performing. Speaking English follows the same principle. Knowledge becomes useful only when it is applied. One of the most important truths about fluency is that simple English is enough to create progress. Many people believe they must speak in long, complicated sentences to become fluent. This belief creates unnecessary pressure. Fluency is not about complexity. Fluency is about flow. A person who can comfortably express simple ideas often sounds more fluent than someone who struggles to construct complicated sentences. Clear communication creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence encourages more speaking. More speaking creates improvement. This is why daily speaking matters so much. Every conversation with yourself, every sentence spoken aloud, every attempt to express an idea strengthens your connection with English. Small efforts accumulate. The effect may seem invisible at first, but consistent practice changes the brain gradually. Think about how habits shape your life. A single healthy meal does not transform your health. A single workout does not transform your body. A single productive day does not transform your future. Transformation occurs through repeated action. Language learning follows the same pattern. When you speak simple English every day, you are teaching your brain that English belongs in your daily routine. The language becomes familiar instead of foreign. Familiarity reduces resistance. Reduced resistance makes speaking easier. One useful exercise is discussing your day entirely in English. When you wake up, talk about your plans. During the day, describe what you are doing. In the evening, reflect on what happened. These conversations do not need to be perfect. They simply need to happen. Daily experiences provide endless material for speaking practice. You can discuss work responsibilities, family interactions, personal goals, challenges, successes, observations, and future plans. Because these topics are connected to your life, they feel meaningful. Meaningful practice is easier to sustain. Many learners spend too much time worrying about mistakes. They stop speaking every time they notice an error. They correct themselves constantly. They become so focused on accuracy that communication suffers. Accuracy matters, but fluency requires movement. A conversation cannot progress if every sentence is interrupted by fear. During speaking practice, focus first on expressing ideas. Corrections can happen later. The immediate goal is developing comfort with communication. Consider how children learn language. They do not wait until they can speak perfectly before speaking. They experiment, they make mistakes, they try again. Through repeated use, their abilities expand naturally. Adults often create additional obstacles through self-criticism. They expect immediate competence. They compare themselves to fluent speakers. They become discouraged when progress feels slow. A healthier approach involves comparing yourself only to your previous self. Can you say more today than you could last month? Do you feel slightly more comfortable speaking? Can you express ideas more clearly? These improvements represent meaningful progress. Another powerful practice involves speaking about familiar subjects repeatedly while introducing small variations. For example, discuss your job today. Tomorrow, discuss a different aspect of your job. Later, explain challenges you face at work. Then describe goals related to your career. This method develops fluency because it strengthens language connected to important areas of your life. Repeated exposure creates familiarity. Familiarity increases speed and confidence. Fluency also improves when you stop trying to memorize entire conversations. Many learners prepare fixed responses for common situations. While preparation has value, real communication requires flexibility. Life rarely follows scripts. Conversations move in unexpected directions. The ability to adapt develops through practice, not memorization. This is why speaking regularly matters. It teaches you how to create language in real time. One useful habit is setting small daily speaking goals. Perhaps you speak for 5 minutes today. Tomorrow, you speak for 6. Gradual increases create sustainable growth. Large goals often create frustration. Small goals encourage consistency. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. 10 minutes of speaking every day often produces better results than a single long session each week. Daily practice keeps English active in your mind. Frequent contact strengthens memory and improves recall. There is also value in speaking slowly. Many learners believe fluency means speaking quickly. Speed alone does not create effective communication. Clear speech matters more than rapid speech. When you speak slowly, you give yourself time to organize thoughts. You reduce unnecessary stress. You develop better control over sentence construction. As confidence grows, speed often increases naturally. Patience plays an important role in this process. Language development rarely happens in a straight line. Some days feel productive. Other days feel challenging. Temporary difficulties do not mean you are failing. They are part of learning. A stoic mindset can provide valuable guidance. Focus on actions rather than outcomes. You control your effort. You control your practice. You control your willingness to continue. Results emerge gradually from these repeated actions. Many people become discouraged because they expect visible progress every day. Yet some improvements occur beneath the surface. The brain is constantly adapting. New connections form through repetition. Skills strengthen through use. Trusting this process requires discipline. Discipline allows you to continue even when improvement feels invisible. The learner who persists often achieves results that seem impossible to those who quit early. Another useful strategy involves discussing opinions in simple English. Share your thoughts about education, work, health, technology, personal growth, or daily habits. Opinions encourage deeper thinking and create opportunities for extended speaking. The ability to explain your perspective is valuable in both language learning and life. Clear thinking often leads to clearer communication. Clear communication creates stronger relationships and greater opportunities. Fluency also develops through self-acceptance. Many learners spend years feeling embarrassed about their current level. This embarrassment creates hesitation. Hesitation limits practice. Limited practice slows improvement. Accept your current stage while continuing to improve. Every fluent speaker once struggled. Every confident communicator once hesitated. Growth belongs to those who continue despite imperfections. One encouraging truth is that fluency does not require extraordinary talent. It requires regular use. Consistent effort often matters more than natural ability. A person who speaks English every day develops skills that occasional learners rarely achieve. This principle extends beyond language learning. Success in many areas of life depends on consistency. People become stronger through repeated training. They become wiser through repeated reflection. They become more skilled through repeated practice. Language learning provides an opportunity to strengthen these broader qualities. Daily speaking develops patience. It develops discipline. It develops resilience. It teaches you how small actions create long-term results. As your fluency grows, you may notice changes beyond language itself. Confidence increases, opportunities expand, communication becomes less stressful, new information becomes accessible, interactions feel more natural. These benefits do not appear overnight. They emerge gradually through consistent effort. Every sentence spoken contributes to this process. Every conversation strengthens your abilities. Remember that simple English is not a weakness, it is a foundation. Strong foundations support lasting growth. Many effective communicators rely heavily on clear, straightforward language. Their success comes from clarity, not complexity. Continue speaking about your experiences. Continue describing your goals. Continue discussing your observations. Continue expressing your thoughts. Each effort strengthens fluency. Do not wait until you feel ready. Readiness often follows action rather than preceding it. Speak today with the English you already know. Use simple sentences. Express real ideas. Practice consistently. Over time, those simple sentences become smoother. Thoughts arrive more quickly. Responses require less effort. Conversations become easier to manage. The language begins feeling more natural because it has become part of your daily life. This is how fluency develops. Not through perfection, not through shortcuts, not through endless preparation. It develops through daily use. It develops through patience. It develops through the willingness to keep speaking even when progress feels slow. Every day offers a new opportunity to practice. Every sentence offers a new opportunity to improve. Every effort moves you forward. Continue speaking. Continue learning. Continue trusting the process. The fluency you seek is not hidden in a distant future. It is being built right now through every simple English sentence you choose to speak today. Chapter 10. Transform your life through consistent English speaking practice. Consistent English speaking practice does more than improve language skills. It changes how a person sees themselves, how they respond to challenges, and how they move through opportunities in daily life. At the beginning, it may look like a simple skill-building exercise. But over time, it becomes something deeper. It becomes a discipline that reshapes thinking, behavior, and confidence. Most people start learning English with excitement. They imagine better jobs, better communication, and a wider world. But motivation alone is not enough. Many stop after a few weeks because they rely on mood instead of structure. When motivation fades, practice stops. When practice stops, progress slows. Then frustration replaces hope. Consistent speaking practice solves this problem because it removes dependence on emotion. It replaces, "I feel like practicing today," with "I practice today because this is what I do." That small shift changes everything. When action becomes routine, improvement no longer depends on temporary motivation. It depends on identity and discipline. A consistent speaker is not someone who speaks perfectly. A consistent speaker is someone who returns to practice every day, regardless of mood, energy, or situation. This return creates momentum. Momentum creates improvement. Improvement builds confidence. Confidence encourages further action. This cycle becomes stronger over time. At first, speaking English daily may feel uncomfortable. Words may not come easily. Thoughts may feel slow. Sentences may feel incomplete. This stage is normal. Every skill begins with uncertainty. The important thing is not how smooth the practice feels in the beginning, but whether the practice continues. With repetition, something important begins to change. The mind becomes more familiar with English patterns. The mouth becomes more comfortable forming sentences. The fear of speaking slowly weakens. What once felt difficult starts to feel normal. This transformation does not happen suddenly. It happens through steady exposure. One of the most powerful effects of consistent practice is mental clarity. When you regularly express thoughts in English, your thinking becomes more structured. You start organizing ideas more clearly because you are training your mind to communicate in a different language system. This clarity does not stay limited to English. It often influences how you think in general life situations. Another transformation happens in confidence. Many learners begin with hesitation. They worry about mistakes. They fear judgment. They avoid speaking unless they are certain. But consistent practice slowly replaces fear with familiarity. You begin to realize that communication is more important than perfection. You accept mistakes as part of the process. This acceptance reduces pressure and increases willingness to speak. Over time, speaking English daily also changes how you interact with opportunities. Simple conversations that once felt intimidating become manageable. You feel more prepared in situations where English is needed. You respond with less delay. You express ideas more clearly. This improvement opens doors in education, work, travel, and communication with new people. A major reason this transformation happens is exposure. Language is not learned by observation alone. It is learned by use. Every time you speak, even for a few minutes, you are reinforcing neural pathways. You are strengthening connections between thoughts and expression. These connections gradually become faster and more automatic. Consistency is more important than duration. Speaking for a short time every day produces stronger results than speaking for a long time occasionally. Daily repetition keeps the language active in your mind. It prevents long gaps that lead to forgetting. It maintains familiarity so that speaking feels less like effort and more like routine. Many learners underestimate the power of small daily actions. They expect dramatic progress from intense study sessions. But real transformation happens quietly. It happens through repeated simple actions. It happens when speaking becomes part of everyday life rather than a separate activity. One effective approach is integrating English into ordinary routines. Describe your actions while you are doing them. Talk about your plans while organizing your day. Reflect on your experiences while relaxing. These small habits turn everyday moments into practice opportunities without requiring extra time. Another important element is emotional control. Learning a language involves mistakes. Some days will feel smooth. Other days will feel frustrating. Consistency requires continuing despite these fluctuations. If practice stops every time it feels difficult, progress becomes inconsistent. But if practice continues regardless of emotional state, growth becomes steady. This discipline builds resilience. Resilience is not only useful for language learning, it becomes valuable in many areas of life. The ability to continue working toward a goal despite discomfort is a powerful skill. It influences career development, personal growth, and problem-solving ability. As practice continues, something unexpected begins to happen. English stops feeling like a separate subject. It becomes part of your thinking process. You start forming simple thoughts in English without forcing translation. You begin responding more naturally in conversations. You become more comfortable expressing yourself in real time. This shift is gradual, but it is significant. It marks the transition from learning English as information to using English as a tool. Once this shift begins, progress accelerates because the language becomes active rather than passive. Consistency also strengthens memory. Words and sentence patterns repeated daily stay longer in your mind. They become easier to recall during conversations. Instead of searching for words, you begin retrieving them naturally. This reduces hesitation and improves flow. A consistent speaker also develops better listening skills. As your familiarity with spoken English increases, you begin recognizing patterns more easily. You understand context faster. You follow conversations with less effort. Speaking and listening grow together through regular exposure. Another transformation occurs in self-perception. At the beginning, you may see yourself as someone struggling with English. But with time, as you continue practicing, your identity shifts. You begin to see yourself as someone who is actively improving. This change in identity is powerful because it influences behavior. When you believe you are a practicing speaker, you act like one. This identity shift is often more important than external results. It keeps you committed even when progress feels slow. It helps you continue practicing even without immediate rewards. identity becomes the foundation of long-term consistencies. It is also important to understand that consistency does not require perfection. Missing a day does not break progress. What matters is returning. The strength of a habit is measured not by flawless execution, but by the ability to continue after interruption. Over time, consistent practice leads to fluency, but fluency is not the only reward. The process itself builds discipline, patience, and self-awareness. You learn how to work toward a goal without immediate results. You learn how to stay committed without constant motivation. These skills extend beyond language learning into all areas of life. Speaking English every day also creates opportunities for reflection. As you express your thoughts, you become more aware of your ideas. You start noticing patterns in your thinking. You begin organizing your thoughts more clearly. This mental clarity improves decision-making and communication in general. One of the most valuable outcomes of consistent practice is freedom. At first, you may feel limited by vocabulary. You may struggle to express complex ideas. But as practice continues, you discover that you can communicate more than you thought. You learn to work with simple language effectively. You find ways to express ideas clearly even without advanced vocabulary. This freedom is not about perfection. It is about ability. It is about knowing that you can communicate in real situations. It is about trusting your skill enough to speak without fear. Eventually, English becomes less about effort and more about expression. You are no longer focused on constructing sentences carefully. You are focused on sharing ideas. Communication becomes the priority, not correctness. This shift marks true progress. Transformation does not come from a single moment. It comes from accumulation. Each day of speaking adds a layer of improvement. Each effort strengthens your foundation. Each practice session brings you closer to ease. The learner who continues speaking daily, even in small ways, eventually reaches a point where English feels natural. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is familiar. Familiarity replaces fear. Repetition replaces hesitation. Practice replaces doubt. This is how consistent English-speaking practice transforms life. It builds a skill, but it also builds a mindset. It creates communication ability, but it also creates discipline. It improves language, but it also improves confidence and thinking. And in the end, the real transformation is not only in how you speak English. It is in how you see yourself as someone who can grow through daily action, steady effort, and quiet persistence that continues long enough to change everything.